Считаю, что Мадалена самый сложный соперник в Ислама карьере. Это мое мнение. Ни Чарльз, никто. Ни один из этих бойцов. Я например, буду готовить Ислама против Илья или Маддалены, для меня больше будет волновать и волнует Мадалена.
Khabib Nurmagomedov recently shared his take on the potential matchup between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena, JDM, suggesting that Jack would actually pose a bigger challenge for Islam than Ilia Topuria would at the same time. Max Holloway weighed in, pointing out that fans are sleeping on Jack's skill set. According to Max, Jack's high-level abilities and his current number 2 pound-for-pound ranking aren't getting the respect they deserve. Max hinted that the fight could go down in October and described it as a high-level showdown, tough, tactical, and full of action. He finished by warning everyone not to overlook Jack heading into this possible clash.
I think he'd be fine, man. I think he'd be good, but people be sleeping on Jack, you know what I mean? And I think Jack is one of the best fighters in the world right now, and I think people is gonna find out when that match happens. I don't know. I'm hearing rumors maybe October. I think it's gonna be a fun fight, smart fight, but a lot of people counting out Jack for I don't know what reason. They just keep counting him out. Kind of reminds me of when I was like coming up and counting me out about certain fights. So I mean, he is he's the number 2 pound for pound in the world right now, but he's the number 2 pound for pound in the world for a reason. So you gotta respect that, but. Don't sleep on Jack. I think it's going to be a tough and fun fight.
Joaquin Buckley commented on the situation, saying that Islam Makhachev seems to be eyeing a move up to 170 pounds. But he questioned whether Jack Della Maddalena, JDM, would even make it to that potential bout, considering the grueling 5-round battle he just had with Belal Muhammad. Buckley added that during that fight, Jack showcased striking so sharp it looked like something out of Canelo Alvarez's playbook, impressive enough to turn heads in the MMA and boxing worlds alike.
You talk to your brother Islam, you know what I'm saying? He trying to make them big moves up to 170. They trying to make that fight happen with him and JDM, but JDM just went through a whole 5-round war. I don't think my man gonna make it to that fight. For real. He made Belal look like he really had.
Khabib Nurmagomedov shared his honest assessment, saying he sees Jack Della Maddalena as possibly the toughest opponent Islam Makhachev could ever face. That I end Khabib's view. Jack brings a more complete challenge than Ilia Topuria. Is the bigger fighter, equally skilled, and also comes with solid grappling ability. Khabib even admitted that if he had to get Islam ready to face either of them, he'd feel more concerned preparing for Maddalena.
Считаю, что Мадалена самый сложный соперник в Ислама карьере. Это мое мнение. Ни Чарльз, никто. Ни один из этих бойцов.
И даже не Илья, если бы это бой был бы.
Мое личное мнение, во-первых, Мадалена 2 раза больше, чем Илья.
Сопоставим.
Илья. Он 2 раза больше. Он выше, больше, ноги помощнее, корпус, бокс не хуже. И грэпплинг он возится очень хорошо, если вы смотрели. Для меня, если я например, буду готовить Ислама против Илья или Маддалены, для меня больше будет волновать и волнует Мадалена.
Gilbert Burns also gave his take on Jack Della Maddalena, calling him one of the hardest punches he's ever stood across from. Even harder, he said, than Kamaru Usman or Khamzat Chimaev. Burns mentioned that even Jack's jab carried surprising power. While Gilbert was able to use his wrestling to gain control in parts of the fight, Jack still managed to sneak in a clean, well-placed knee. According to Burns, fighters shouldn't underestimate Jack's striking. His power is real, and it can change a fight in an instant.
JDM is one of the guys that I fought that hits the hardest. And I fought Woodley, for Hamza. That guy gave me a little jab, and then wow. God.
JDM and Belal Muhammad. You've been in there with both of them.
I was able to wrestle him, kind of control him a little bit. At the end, the guy did his thing. I ate a beautiful knee. You can feel it was not a stiff jab. It was just like pick and then poof. Wow, that guy hits hard. You gotta watch out with that.
Craig Jones also chimed in with high praise for Jack Della Maddalena, saying he has some of the best scrambling ability in all of MMA. He believes that, given the noticeable size advantage, Jack is what it takes to beat Islam Makhachev. Jones pointed out that Islam had difficulty controlling Alexander Volkanovski on the ground, and he expects Jack to create even more problems in grappling exchanges. He also raised the question, if Islam loses to Jack, Would he even return to face Ilia Topuria afterward?
How do you think the fight against Islam goes?
I think it's a super difficult fight. Obviously, he's faced Volk twice. So the first one, very competitive. And now he's facing a guy that's best scrambling ability, period, in all of MMA. I think that's what Bilal struggled with. So I think the size difference is going to be quite a lot than people think. And we've seen how Volk did on the ground, how much Islam struggled with him. Jack beats Islam, puts Islam in a difficult position. Does he now go back down to fight Ilia after he loses?
Alexander Volkanovski weighed in on Jack Della Maddalena's recent performance, saying that his fight against Belal Muhammad was the perfect warm-up for a future clash with Islam Makhachev. Volk believes that successfully defending Belal's takedowns not only showed Jack's improved wrestling defense, but also gave him a major confidence boost. In Volkanovski's eyes, even top-tier grapplers will have a tough time getting Jack to the ground, or keeping him there.
Islam Makhachev is going to be fighting Jack Della Maddalena. How do you think those two match up?
I think Jack's fight against Belal was a perfect fight for leading into that. Just purely, you take a lot out of stop and takedowns, because again, there's every fighter's still going to have little doubts that are going to creep in. You know, I'm sure Jack was going through that, being like, all right, like, you know, worried about, you know, what if he takes me down and all that. But the fact that he was able to stop it and feel so comfortable, I guarantee you he's leveled up again. His confidence in his takedowns has just went up significantly leading into this fight. I think his confidence is going to be at a whole nother level. So through camp, like, I guarantee you, if he's back in training right now, people trying to take him down are going to find it almost impossible. You know, only the top guys are going to have a chance of taking him down, and they're going to have a very hard time even holding him down.
Jorge Masvidal, however, is siding with Islam Makhachev in this potential matchup. While he gave credit to Jack Della Maddalena for his sharp striking and solid takedown defense, Masvidal emphasized that Islam's wrestling operates on another level entirely. According to Jorge, Jack might have the edge early on with his boxing, but over time, he expects Islam's relentless pressure and grappling to shift the momentum in his favor.
I've seen Islam, bro. He's a big guy. He's sucking out a lot of weight to get to 55. I think he might start doing better at 7. Problem is, though, Jack is special. We're gonna see just how special he is if he beats Islam Jack, #1 pound per. Wow, that's impressive. You know, I'm leaning towards Islam, brother.
Oh, really?
You know, but I really think it's gonna be a tough fight for him, but a great fight, man.
Jack was able to defend takedown attempts by Bilal.
Bilal has the best cardio in MMA, but Bilal doesn't have Islam's technique. Not same technique. Not same. Very good, very aggressive. Bilal never stops. A dog. Attack. But Islam is like smart, man. Boom. You know, Islam's level of wrestling is above. His stand-up game is improving. I don't think he could go stand-up in the beginning with Jack. Jack has way better hands, way better range, faster, stronger. But as the rounds go on later and later, he could do.
Ilia Topuria was recently asked about the potential matchup and Islam Makhachev's rumored move to welterweight, but he didn't seem too interested. Ilia made it clear that fighting isn't something that's on his mind at the moment. It just doesn't excite him right now. That said, when it came to offering advice, Ilia did have a suggestion for Jack Della Maddalena. Focus on targeting Islam's body with straight shots. According to Ilia, well-placed body punches can wear down a wrestler and disrupt their takedown-heavy strategy. He also praised Jack's striking and said that if he sticks to this game plan, it could seriously boost his chances of pulling off the win.
I think Islam Makhachev will do it 170 when he fights Jack Della Maddalena.
I don't know. I don't care, to be honest. I never thought about that, so I don't know.
Have any advice for Jack, who might be coming up against Islam Makhachev next?
The advice, like, he has to work the straight body shots, because that takes away the intentions of the takedown. If he works with the straight body shots, he's gonna stop his intentions of the takedowns. And he's doing a great job at the striking. I like how he fights.
Philip Rowe also threw his support behind Jack Della Maddalena, confidently stating that he sees Jack beating Islam Makhachev if the two ever meet. Rowe argued that Islam simply doesn't have the size to hang with the elite at welterweight, and Jack's combination of power and his ability to get back to his feet after being taken down would be too much to handle. He went as far as to predict that Jack would finish Islam before it ever reaches the judges' scorecards.
Philip Rowe, what's cracking, man?
Chilling.
Hey, now listen, you're welterweight. You've been in the game a long time. Islam moving up to 170. Is he big enough for 170?
My personal opinion, I don't think he is, but he's a champ. We'll see when he's there. You know what I'm saying? He has a fight. He's fighting the champ. That's the best 170 in the world right now, right? So we'll see.
So you don't think he has the size, but how do you think he does in a fight versus JDM?
I personally think JDM beats him. I think JDM will be able to get up if he does take him down. I don't think he'll be able to take JDM shots. I think personally he'll stop at Islam.
Dustin Poirier gave his take on the potential matchup, saying the outcome could hinge on how the fight starts. If Islam Makhachev is able to take Jack Della Maddalena down early, Dustin believes Islam could dominate by controlling the pace from the ground. However, if Jack manages to stuff those early takedown attempts, Poirier thinks his heavy hands and physical strength could put Islam in serious trouble. Dustin also pointed out that while Islam's striking might not look the cleanest, it works, mainly because opponents always worried about the takedown, which keeps them hesitant and reactive.
Do you think he beats Jack Della Maddalena?
I think we'll find out first, second round how much trouble he has getting him down. I think if he gets those takedowns, he's going to get the win. If Jack can stop those takedowns, which he does have good takedown defense, I think the boxing and the size could wear on Islam and give him some problems. But his striking's, awkward and different. You have to worry so much about the takedown. You can't plant your feet and throw off those number combinations and really rip and sit on your punches because he's going to change levels. So it changes the way you fight. Well, for me, it did. I'm speaking from experience. So we'll see how Jack approaches and how Jack executes out there. But if you're worried about takedowns, your shots are different. You're not sitting on everything and standing in front of the guy. You're trying to move and be light on your feet. I think the first 2 rounds will tell us how this fight's going to go.
Charles Oliveira acknowledged Jack Della Maddalena as a serious threat, praising his calm, calculated style. According to Oliveira, Jack doesn't chase knockouts. He breaks opponents down over time, just like he did in his fight with Belal Muhammad. That said, Oliveira also believes that Islam Makhachev will still be a force to reckon with at welterweight, especially with his grappling-heavy approach. In his opinion, the outcome of the fight could boil down to a simple question. Can Jack keep the fight standing, or will Islam control things on the ground?
O que você acha que ganha entre o Jack Della Maddalena e o Islam? Maddalena, ele é um jogo muito complicado, porque ele é um cara que ele não vem pra te nocautear rápido, ele vem pra te ele vem te magoando, né? Aos poucos, né? Aos poucos. É o que ele fez agora na luta contra o Bilal. Só que eu acho que o Islam vai se dar muito bem nessa categoria, né, mano? Agora vai estar muito mais forte, é um jogo que, ele gosta de agarrar e botar pra baixo. Eu acho que o Jack Maddalena fazia a mesma luta que ele fez, né? Agora contra o Bilal, batendo, movimentando, saindo, machucando, é uma luta, mas se deixar o Islam agarrar e botar pra baixo, é outra.
Robert Whittaker shared his thoughts on Islam Makhachev potentially moving up in weight, saying it's tough to predict how he'll fare at welterweight. According to Whittaker, jumping to a new division comes with a whole set of physical and tactical challenges that can't be ignored. Still, he expressed confidence in Islam's abilities, noting that Makhachev has the tools to do everything Belal Muhammad can, just at an even higher level.
Definitely, but like I said, it is hard to try to get an accurate gauge on what it's going to look like, not knowing how Islam is going to look when he moves up. Okay, it's always the question everybody asks when anybody is moving up a weight division or down a weight division. Okay, there's so many unknowns involved. But saying that, I think that Islam can do everything that Belal does, but way better. Okay, way better.
Javier Mendez also gave his perspective, saying it's hard to say for sure whether Jack Della Maddalena would be the toughest opponent Islam Makhachev has faced. However, he made it clear that Islam is fully locked in for the challenge and 100% committed to the preparation. Mendez praised Islam's discipline and wild-class skill set, calling him a different caliber of fighter than anyone Jack has ever stood across from. He also mentioned that moving up in weight might actually benefit Islam physically, and he expects him to remain just as dominant in the new division.